Well, good afternoon, or whatever time you're maybe listening to this is. I wanted to share a little bit something I was just thinking about the other day. I had posted, I had a friend on Facebook. He has a radio show. I don't know if you call it a radio show, but like a podcast, I guess. I don't know if he broadcasts anywhere else, but in any case, it's mostly, I guess, sort of atheism, free thinking kind of topics, and he invited me to be a guest on his show a few years ago. I was kind of reluctant to do it because apologetics is not a huge part of my day to day as much as it was I don't know 15, 18 years ago. I used to spend a lot of my days, and I was in college at the time, so I had the freedom to be able to devote a lot of that time. And you have the sort of the angst or the vigor of youth. I know early 20s, but still, still trying to figure out where you fit in the world, and so part of that sometimes is the enthusiasm that one has with worldviews. And anyway, so I spent a good portion of my day's life in those days with apologetics, studying apologetics and practicing it and writing articles and responding and debating and all this stuff. So he posted something like, and I wonder if he posted it because he saw my post about, I was listening to one of my favorite bands of all time, I guess you can say, is Bad Religion. I have most of their albums. I haven't bought anything in the last 10 years of theirs because you know how sort of CDs have declined over the last decade or so, but I haven't really listened to it. So I had posted it on Facebook, and I think on the same day he had posted something like, "Well, fellow atheists, like, what do you listen to?" Because the point I was making was, I guess I listened to it a lot when I was an atheist. I mean, I still listen to Bad Religion. I like a lot of their songs. I have a strange relationship with music. Lyrics haven't always been a big part of what draws me to listen to certain kinds of music. I think it's a certain combination. It's hard to explain other than there's just a combination of sounds, and if I just kind of like their sound and not so much the lyrics per se, I would look them up. I'd buy their CD, and I might not like the rest of the stuff that they do, but that's what makes up a lot of my collection. So as of late, I've started looking at some of the lyrics, and Bad Religion was a little different because I liked the sound, but then the lyrics were of interest to me also. Growing up, I got into them in my late teens or early 20s. In any case, he had posted something asking about what do you listen to. So I commented and I said, well, when I was an atheist, I would listen to Bad Religion or punk rock, or and I gave an example of the song I was listening to that same day. And metal, that's what I would listen to when I was an atheist. I can't imagine that every single atheist out there that those are the typical musical styles, although sort of my experience has been the atheists that I have met, those tend to be the kinds of music that they had listened to, and I don't know what that is, and maybe that would be an interesting psychology study, but there must be something about the pattern, right? So punk rock and metal, there's a lot of anger and anti-authority and frustration, all that stuff, all just channeled through that avenue, I guess. But there might be possibly a larger population of atheists that I never encountered, and they were more quiet about their atheism or whatever, and they might listen to pop rock or pop music. I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of atheists out there listen to, I don't know, Ricky Martin or Backstreet Boys when I was growing up, or NSYNC or whatever it is. I don't know, maybe. anyway, so almost immediately I had some of his friends comment on my post saying things like, what do you mean we're an atheist, or what is this shit, or something like that, or whatever. And to be expected, I should say. There's always going to be a few. Again, back to that kind of just, I mean, anger and being upset or whatever it is, and that goes in different. That goes across so many populations. I mean, there are Christians, there are Catholics, there are people like that are just like, oh, fresh meat, somebody to pick on or attack or something like that. And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm just reading between the lines, but I mean, I immediately commented and responded to one of them, and I said, look, if you're wanting to debate, I have no interest in debating. And there might be some atheists that will hear that and say, well, of course you don't want to debate because you don't have any foundation or proof for your belief or whatever it is. And I know how some folks think in the community, if you want to call it a community, because I was there, right? I mean, there's some kind of, and it's not everybody, like I said, but there is a contingent of folks. And you think about it, what are the type of folks that go on YouTube, the kind of folks that go into forums, the kind of folks that do apologetics, the kind of folks. There's a certain personality style that attracts. Sorry, there's a certain personality style that's attracted to certain ways of encountering others. And, over the years, I've just kind of come to that sort of conclusion that there's just going to be, and I put myself as one of those, and that's one of my weaknesses is, if I'm not particularly involved, I'm busy or whatever it is, and I see something and, an opinion that I don't agree with, I'm going to pounce on it, or I'm going to comment on it. Maybe I won't, have the same degree of vitriol as I had in my early 20s, but, and maybe I do. It just depends on moods and whatever. But I have to really put myself in check on those things, because there are proper times to engage in discussion and debate, especially if someone it's someone that's closer to you, I suppose, and you think they're on the wrong path, or they're conveying the wrong kind of thing. I mean, I have no prejudices, I guess you can say, as far as who. If in any given moment I'd like to correct a certain perspective. I mean, I've done it with fellow Catholics, Christians, believers, atheists, agnostics. It doesn't really matter. I mean, if I have a particular perspective or understanding, or and I read something and I think I disagree with it. Again, depending on all those other factors, I might comment on it or invest a certain amount of time going down that path, trying to correct or explain or debate or whatever it is. And it depends. It's a dynamic, right? So if the other individual is receptive to it, then it might be a fruitful conversation. But typically, as far as debates go, especially as emotional as the theism versus atheism debate goes, you have folks that are very emotionally invested in their or intellectually, depending on how you want to frame it, intellectually, emotionally invested in their particular worldview. And 20 years or so that I've been doing the debates, so observing debates, watching YouTube videos, watching debates, attending debates, organizing debates. I mean, my opinion is just, I really don't think there are too many people that change their views because of a heated discussion or debate or whatever, especially if there is no close connection with that individual. Like, this is not a close friend or something like that. It's not a family member or friend or whatever. In my opinion, I think it's one thing if you learn apologetics and you become an expert in certain ways of defending your belief system, and you encounter somebody at work or encounter somebody in your family or friends or whatever it is, then you can have, friendly, civil discussion, engaging, tit for tat kind of back and forth kind of stuff. And maybe over time it will lead somewhere. But as far as, a one time kind of thing, like you post a blog and somebody comes in there, wants to troll or wants to engage in a debate or whatever, and then you do that thing. I've never, in the years that I was really involved in the discussions, and I don't know what happened in those days, but sometimes I come across an old email or an old post or something like that, and I remember, oh yeah, that's right, I spent 3 months engaging in a discussion with this individual, and it seemed like we got somewhere, and then we just drop off the face of the earth. Years later they add me on Facebook. I'm like, oh, what's going on? You're still an atheist, or you're still Protestant, or you're still this, that, or the other thing, sedevacantist, whatever. In my opinion, what was really lacking was the fact that they weren't in the same town, in the same city. They weren't real, like friends of mine, even the ones I've added on Facebook years and years later. We're Facebook friends. So, I have 620 of them. I'm not really friends with the vast majority of those folks. It's just the nature of social media. It's one of those things where you resonate with the people that already agree with you, and every once in a while you engage the folks that don't agree with you or whatever it is. But that's the extent of it. So, even face to face kind of thing, I can't expect, personally won't expect an individual to change their views, even if it's a well reasoned, presentation. We have to realize, I think, that wherever we're at, whether you're agnostic, atheist, Orthodox, Christian, Protestant, Catholic, whatever your particular worldview is, you're there because it's really a culmination or the sum of all of what has come before, of how you were socialized, how you were raised, all the environmental factors, the events that occurred in your life, how that impacted your psychology, your sociology, even your biology, right? So, psychology affects biology just as biology affects psychology. We are all integrated human, persons that are made up of so many different factors that make you who you are. And it's all unique. It's all particular to each individual person. So to expect that, for me to present, a syllogistic argument for the existence of God, or arguments against the existence of God to a person who is totally committed, 18 years or however many years they're invested in a particular worldview, you're not going to undo, nobody's going to undo any of that stuff in any direction, or with a well-reasoned argument. Even this individual that chatted with me the other day on that post, I said, if you're interested in, because that's what he said, I'm just really genuinely interested in why you believe the way you do. And I thought, oh, really? Let's see. Here's what I wrote. It's very short, of why I am where I'm at. Here's the link. Did you read it? No. The conversation stopped there. So what does that tell me? And I'm reading between the lines, but what does that tell me is I think this individual just wanted to engage in back and forth in that context, in that moment, and that's it. And that's totally not my interest. That's why I wanted to cut it off right at the pass and say, not interested in debate. If you really want to know, here it is. I wrote it. If you want to talk to me, Facebook me. Facebook, whatever it is, Messenger. I can do Zoom. I can do Skype. Whatever you want. Let's do it. Not a chirp. And there's two other dudes that did the same thing. And oh, I'm really interested. Why do you add this and that? And okay, well, I was interviewed by this host, so we'll listen to that program. If you want to learn a little bit more, fine. If you want to talk to me, message me. But this kind of online kind of back and forth and stuff. I really don't think people change their mind. I mean, think about the folks that do convert to any whatever it is that they convert to. It seems to me it's an internal kind of struggle, or whatever it is, journey you want to call it, right? They question, they research, they read books, they talk to some people, they might engage in some public stuff, whatever it is. It's a combination of all those things. But most of the stuff that ultimately brings them to wherever it is they end up, a lot of that stuff is happening in the background. That's why a lot of folks, when they find out, oh, what, you converted to this, that, or the other thing, I didn't know. Well, why do you think that is? Because people don't convert, in that kind of extrinsic, kind of external, way that people can actually track and see, for the most part, as far as I can tell, unless you're like St. Paul, right? You just knocked off the horse by God, right? And if you believe that story, so most people, they don't convert that way. It's really I mean, in my opinion, at least from what I've seen, I don't know, people might have one-off stories in their experience, but it seems to me most of the folks that I've seen go one way, one direction or another. A lot of folks around those people's lives, didn't see it coming, because most of the stuff that moved them to wherever they ended up was happening in the background. So apologetics, I think, is good just to know, for your own benefit, for your own sort of security, and when a time comes, you can have that individual conversation with that person, that's available, that it's a tool that you have in a toolbox. It's better to know that stuff, not to know that stuff. But in terms of publicly engaging and debating and discussing back and forth or whatever, I mean, it's like some of these videos, like I think I commented on it somewhere, like this Cameron Bertuzzi guy. I mean, I'm sorry, not to sound disrespectful. I'm just saying, that's his name, Carmen Bertuzzi. I'd never heard of him before, but apparently he's very, very popular on YouTube, whatever. And some other guy, he has a popular video where he attended a Latin Mass, never had any background with Catholicism or whatever. Now, he seems really interested, like genuinely interested, but for the few videos that I've seen, 3 or 4 videos I've seen of Cameron's, I feel like it's a lot of baiting. Like, hey, you want to see if I'm going to become a Catholic? Watch my debate with this. It's one of those things. Like, it's going to attract the Catholics to have more views of his channel. Like, I feel like I don't think he's truly interested in or open to Catholicism. I think it's just a way of drawing more views from Catholics to watch the thing, and I watched the whole 2-3 hour thing. Like, there wasn't any sense that I got a sense that he was interested in Catholicism, whatever, or he didn't really know. And to be fair, to also be, sadly, the person that was trying to, what was his name? He's a doctor in philosophy. Oh my gosh, his apologetics was terrible. I mean, I actually got to know him not even get to know him. I knew of him a few years ago. He was a guest on Iron Sharpens Iron, and I listened to that interview, 2017, and he was talking about why he came back to evangelical, I guess, Calvinistic Protestantism, because he was a Protestant, he became a Catholic, and he came back at that time. That was his interview in 2017. Now, I listened to that thing, and I emailed him a few months after that broadcast, actually, and he had said, well, don't tell anybody, I'm actually on my way back to Catholicism, all right? I'm still teaching at this Baptist seminary, so just keep it on DL. I mean, as if I have anybody to tell anyway, so I kept it to myself, of course. I totally forgot about him. And then he popped back up, so he's Catholic again. Now, I mean, he followed through. His apologetics were, I mean, yeah, okay, maybe he's great in philosophy, I'm sure. His apologetics are terrible. He wasn't very prepared. He was just talking about, biblical passages that he didn't know the verses to. And I'm like, you're talking to a Protestant, man. So, if you're gonna bring up some passages, have some notes or something, because of course you have viewers that are want to look up what you're talking about at the same time. Anyway, so it was pretty weak in to begin with. But again, I think the host was not really truly interested in Catholicism, and doesn't seem to be overly open to it. And and he's being interviewed by other Catholic folks like Matt Fradd or whatever it is. I just don't think. I just think this is just like, and like, I mean, just to think about it, like, why would I? I mean, of course I did, but if you're like, if you didn't really understand, if you weren't sort of an expert in apologetics, well, why would you listen to this? Like, what does it do for you? I wonder, like, what does it really do for you? Like, for me, like, I want maybe to learn maybe new arguments or perspectives or whatever it is, or maybe just a pastime. But I really wonder out there, like, if you're not already Catholic, you're not already Protestant, what does viewing something like that really do for you? So anyway, I think I'm using my lunch period to record this. Leave it at that for now. I hope you have a good rest of your day or whatever it is. Until next time I get bored and want to record some thoughts. God bless you. Bye.